Wilston Garden town plan will see hundreds of homes being built on greenbelt land to the west and southwest of Harlow, clearing away many acres of greenhouses used for food production, jeopardising the importance of the Lee Valley as a food production area. The Lee Valley Growers Association, formed in 1911, formally objected to the plans of Epping Forest District Council at the local plan examination. The Harlow Alliance Party are aware that a number of landowners of this land, some of whom have been in business there for many decades, do not want to sell their livelihoods and then have to try and find land which someone else might want to sell to be used for food production. Can you tell me why this Labour-controlled council are in favour of building on the Green Belt, the destruction of local businesses and jobs, and the loss of food production, threatening the importance of the Lee Valley as a centre of food production in this country?
Thank you for your question, Mr Taylor. The sites referred to are located within Epping Forest District and so are contained within Epping Forest District Council's local plan. The Lee Valley Growers Association should refer their concerns to Epping Forest District Council. However, Policy E3 of the Epping Forest District Council draft local plan specifically provides policies to promote and protect the glasshouse industry in the Lee Valley with an aim of increasing production by 20% in the local plan period. It should also be noted that the land within the Water Lane Master Plan area has been consistently promoted by the landowners for inclusion within the plan and for future residential-led development.
Okay. My second question then is, in view of the response to my question last month, it is clear that come the end of the current local plan period in 2033, that despite Harlow Council's house building programme, it will have less homes than it did have in 2012. The plans of neighbouring authorities for new homes on Harlow's borders will not see any council-owned homes built. At best, a small number of the overall number of new builds may be owned by housing associations. Can you explain, therefore, how these plans help the thousands of families living locally, desperate for a council house, who will never be able to afford to buy even an affordable home?
Again, thank you for your question, Mr Taylor. In 2012, Harlow had a stock of 9,824 properties. In 2019, that stock had fallen to 9,180, a reduction of 644 properties over a 7-year period. The local plan provides for 10,620 new homes, with a policy being that 30% of these should be available as affordable housing, which more than makes up the deficit.
I've got a supplementary question then. Of those 10,620 homes, of which 30% will apparently be affordable, how many of them will be publicly owned rented properties?
At this stage, the precise number is too early to say, but we are committed to 30% of affordable housing.
That's not rented. Well, we'll come back at next time with a further question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr Alan Liverwood.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening all. The outcome of the Inspector's examination of Harlow Council's local plan will be known later this year. It is noted that the Council produced a document of a couple of months ago which set out how it's going to engage with the residents in the future. Harlow Council will shortly now need to consult residents about the changes which the Inspector finally makes to the local plan. Can you give specific examples of what residents can expect from the difference as a result of the recent undertaking compared with the consultation carried out to the residents during the 4-year period that it took in consulting with the original local plan?
The latest phase of creating Harlow's local plan now provides certainty to local residents. Previous consultations over several years have focused on looking at options for growth locations. The conclusion of this process now fixes these, and so residents of Harlow will have certainty about which areas of the town will be available to be developed and which will not. In terms of what will be different in the local plan, the Inspector has removed 7 sites from the list of sites allocated for housing development, and so these will now remain as green space. There are also a number of minor amendments to green belt boundaries in Harlow, and there is a new policy requiring developments to contribute to the health and well-being of the town.
Thank you. We've agreed not to ask supplementaries because of time tonight.
Thank you.
Second question. Councillors from both parties will be as well as Harlow residents, have expressed concerns about the plight of many of the residents uprooted from the area they live in by being placed in office conversions in Harlow, often miles away from the extended families and support network. The hope must be for the council will cease this practice, and I know you've been involved with this personally yourself. If this was ever the case, do you, or indeed the council, have any thoughts about what these office conversions will be used for in the future?
Well, the council doesn't own any of the buildings that have been converted to residential use in the way that you speak of, and so cannot control their future use unless community development rights are ended and they become subject to planning control. In the event that this does happen, it's hoped that some may be suited for conversion to better quality residential development, or that those in industrial areas can be reconverted back to employment use.
Thank you very much. We'll probably come back later. Thank you.
Good evening. At last year's examination of Harlow Council's local plan, an officer of the council was asked about the consultation which the council had carried out with residents living near those sites being considered for building homes on them. The officer stated that the council had employed a business to do this. Responses then formed one element of the matrix used to determine whether the site should remain on the list. Having spoken to hundreds of residents living near these sites, members of the Harlow Alliance Party had yet to come across anyone who was approached on this subject. Can you tell me how many residents were consulted at each site, whether it be at the first stage when hundreds of sites were identified, the second stage when the number was less than 80, or the final stage for just 20 sites, and when this took place?
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Consultants LUC undertook an open spaces study which included the auditing of open spaces across the district. As part of this, public consultation was undertaken in a number of ways in order to try and reach a broad range of Harlow residents. 850 individuals were contacted to take part in a telephone interview. A letter was sent to 4,000 residents, local groups and stakeholders asking them to participate in the study by filling in a questionnaire. 2 workshops were undertaken for local residents and local groups. 2 focus groups were undertaken focusing on underrepresented groups. A total of 356 responses were received from the questionnaire and telephone interviews, 118 phone calls and 238 questionnaires. In addition to this were detailed views of those individuals that attended the 2 workshop events and the 2 focus groups which targeted children and young people. In terms of the local plan, in addition to exhibitions, press notices, articles, website notices, notices in local libraries and the Civic Centre, the following numbers of people were sent notification letters, emails at each stage of the local plan production. A. Issues and options stage, approximately 1,800 contacts. B. Emerging strategy and further options stage, approximately 2,381 contacts. C. The development management policy stage, approximately 2,231 contacts. And D. The pre-submission publication stage, approximately 2,800 contacts. The contacts comprised consultees from the Council's database, including individuals who expressed an interest, environmental organisations, residents' associations and adjoining councils.
And my second question. Back in the 1990s, Harlow Council carried out work to a number of sites around the town to stop travellers from occupying council land. In view of the recent case involving Bromley Council, Harlow Council may find they are unable to get a further injunction against travellers setting up encampments in Harlow when the existing legal restriction expires in June of this year. Has the Council any plan in place to carry out physical works around the town to stop travellers from being able to gain access to sites which they have used before?
Again, thank you for that question. I'm sure we'll watch that judgment with interest. The procedure Bromley Council used to seek an injunction was very different to the procedure used by Harlow. Our advice is that Bromley's failure to secure an injunction does not make Harlow Council's plans to renew our successful injunction any the less likely. Work has already been carried out, however, to secure vulnerable parts of the town. Should further areas be deemed to be vulnerable, the council will look at the possibility of protecting that piece of land. We ask members of the public to remain vigilant and to report any areas of concern regarding the vulnerability of land that they may have. Thank you. Mrs. Kimberly Dew.